Hi, this is Ushio, and welcome back to Roman's Christmas. We're in the middle of an interrogation. These two posh people are kind of next in our line. We just interviewed the servant, and he's a little bit suspicious. So now it's time to ask these guys how this person got stabbed upstairs. So may I ask what you were doing when the incident happened? It's my duty to cooperate with your investigation after such a terrible incident. Okay, here come that testimony. We were in my room the entire time, pyjamas on, sitting in bed. We were preparing to retire for the evening, so I rang the bell to call Sean. I heard something strange, but I couldn't identify it through the door. When Sean ran out hurriedly, after he put the medicine down, I realised something had happened. Usually he waits silently until I finish the medicine, then leaves after cleaning the mug and blowing the candle out. Something smells fishy, maybe I'll press harder for further information. Okay, so let's ask about their pyjamas. Changing into pyjamas, I don't mean to offend, but changing clothes is really a suspicious behaviour. Were we preparing for bed? We also changed back to our earlier clothing. And as you can see, we are quite immaculate. Sorry, I might have overthought it. Okay, when did Sean come inside? I don't distrust you, but I just want to cover all the bases. How long did it take for Sean to arrive after ringing the bell? After I banged the bell? 30 seconds. Is that right, mon petit rayon de soleil? My little ray of sunlight. Yeah, prompt and reliable as usual. Okay, what about the noise? Could you please tell me about what you heard in detail? I'm not sure, it sounded a bit muffled. Okay, about the order of noise. Can you remember if the sounds occurred before or after you rang the bell? I can't remember clearly. What about you, mon chéri? Seems like, oh forgive me, stress plays such havoc with my memory, I don't recall. They're very vague and not very useful. Please add what you mentioned to the testimony. As you wish, Monsieur Detective. Please testify again. Okay, let's do it. We were in our room the entire time, having changed the pyjamas and preparing for bed. Our formal dresses clean, without any blood. When it was the time I needed to sleep, I rang the bell to call Sean. He came within 30 seconds. I heard a muffled sound, but cannot remember if it was before I rang the bell or after. When Sean ran out hurriedly after he put the medicine down, I realised something had happened. Usually he waits silently until I drink, and then leaves after cleaning the cup and blowing the candles out. Let me think. What's not right? Which evidence is contradictory with Lunic and Soler's testimony? Basically, it's really vague, and they're not telling us how they heard the sounds. So I'm not sure. They also wouldn't let us search their room. So there's a lot here that doesn't make a lot of sense. There is one thing, their pyjamas, their clothing and luggage are all in Sean's room. So the fact that they could get changed without him being there, we'll try that, the luggage. By the way, your suitcase is so heavy. It is. We need to prepare well before we went out in winter. Okay, so which evidence is contradictory with the testimony? Okay, so it's close, but not quite. What about the nightstand? Yeah, you didn't let us look in there, did you? Also, I'm curious as to why you refused to let me check your night table. That has nothing to do with this case, and it's my right. I hope you can understand. Oh, what? Come on. Tell us about the bell you have. Nothing doubtful, I think. It might be safe to assume we've exhausted this line of questioning. I think so too. Thank you for your cooperation. Then who are you asking next, Monsieur Detective? The next one's elegant. What are you doing at the time? Okay, we already kind of know what's going on with her, but we need to cover all the bases. Me, I was standing in front of you. You came in, I shut the door, and I inquired if you were wearing a bell. That should be the Marcus's bell ringing, I think. Then there was a crashing sound and a loud noise, so the bell was first, then the crashing, and then the big boom of him falling over. After which you opened the door forcibly and ran out. I followed you and saw you trying to open the door to Kane's room. Something's fishy, maybe I'll press harder. Okay, before I went upstairs. You have no proof you were in your own room the entire time I was downstairs. That's correct. Well, that was direct. You are welcome to doubt my testimony if you wish, as I cannot actually prove it. Okay, what about the bell? Can you be sure you heard the bell ringing? I don't remember hearing it myself. Maybe you were distracted by the sound of the door closing, but my hearing is also much better than yours. Oh, okay. What about the order of noises? So the sequence of sounds, can you go over them? As you wish. The first was the ringing bell, then our conversation, then the sounds of crashing, followed by the loud sounds. Okay, this is getting weird. What about the name list? About the notebook with the names? As suspicious as this is going to make me sound, I cannot disclose its purpose at this time. Okay, we'll leave it there. Please add what you mentioned to the testimony. Okay, testify again. Let's keep grilling our suspects. I cannot prove my behaviour before you went upstairs, but I was standing in front of you at the time. The ringing should have occurred when I shut the door, so you missed it. Then in sequence there was the ringing, then the smashing sound, after which you opened the door forcibly and ran out. I followed you and saw you trying to open the door to Kane's room. I know the book of names makes me suspicious, but I can't tell you its purpose for now. Okay, I think the bell... I'm not sure about the bell noise. So, what else can we do? Peter heard small noises, a loud noise, and then the bell. Whereas she says that she heard the bell first. We'll try this. Hold it. That's it. Same question. Peter, Sean and you all heard the ring and small noises, but everyone's testimonies about the order of sounds are different. Peter heard the small noises first, and then the bump, and then the ring. You heard the ring first, and then the small noises, and then the loud noise. Sean only heard the loud noise, and then the ring. Who is lying? I'm not sure. I think nobody. I don't think any of these people have actually done it. I think they're all innocent. Peter's definitely innocent because he was downstairs. Elegant, I don't think she's got reason to do it. And Sean, I don't think it was him. Because he's kind of like super honest. I don't know. Let's go with no one for now. I see. Nobody lied. What? Then it's a suicide, isn't it? Nobody lied, but nobody could describe the whole thing. What if there was more than one set of ringing? Though I didn't hear anything, stupid ears. For example, the first there was a ringing, then the crashing, followed by a loud sound, and then ringing again. In this way, the sequence that 3 people heard should be correct. The number of bell rings is the key to solving the case. Yeah, I think so. But why would the Marquis need to ring the bell again? Unless his faithful servant didn't answer the first time the bell rang out. Well, I didn't want to say that because it would make the Marquis suspicious. But you have thought this stage. I have to explain. Okay, another testimony please. In fact, I heard 2 sets of ringing. The first time, I entered to prepare the medicine. The second time, I didn't understand, but I still came. Before I had the chance to ask the reason, I heard the loud sound from outside. By the way, when I first answered the bell, I only saw the Marquis standing on the bed without Marquis Harlock's presence. Something's fishy, maybe I'll press harder. Okay, tell us about it ringing twice. So you heard 2 sets of rings. And then I came in the room twice, yes. The second entry then. Could you please tell me the exact situation when you entered the second time? I opened the door and saw Master Lunik and Mistress Solar seated together. He was breathing heavily and he was sweating a great deal. Okay. You didn't see the Marquis though? Not the first time? No, only the lady. Are you sure that he wasn't just hiding in the corner or someplace you didn't notice? Yeah, I'm sure. Okay, let's leave it at that. Another testimony, please. In fact, I heard 2 ringings and answered twice. I prepared the medicine the first time, but the Marquis wasn't in the room. The second time, I found him in the room, breathing heavily and sweating profusely. Before I had the chance to ask the reason, I heard the loud sound from outside. Hold on a sec. Sean. What? Please calm down. Don't hurt the witness. As I step between Sean and Lunik, Sean sees the opportunity to retreat. Monsieur Detective, I order you to step aside. This is a personal matter. But which book should you quote to stop Lunik? The Detective Code or the Helios Code? Let's go with the Helios Code. The Helios Code stipulates servants may not profess opinions that slander or demean their master's position. Then you understand my anger. Except when providing testimony to a felony crime such as murder. Bâtard bégay mon bel-air. After he's finished, tell him that he is fired immediately, and that I will see to it he never works for another noble again. If you're the murderer, you should probably consider firing all your servants. You're going to need the money sooner than you think. If you think he's lying, you can choose to tell the truth. Very well, I shall do as you ask. I'm listening. Okay, we're getting deeper into this. Indeed, I rang the bell twice. I did not say so earlier, because I did not want my servant to become a suspect. I consider it recompense for 10 years of loyal service. But now that he's betrayed me, I will expose his lies, sans pitié. He didn't come at all when I rang the bell the first time. He came in after I rang the bell the second time after some time. Okay, something's fishy. Let's press harder. What do you mean you didn't want him to get suspected? Why did you lie the first time? As I said, I did not wish my servant to become a suspect. If he's arrested, who will serve me? Oui, I know I was wrong. Please continue your asking. Okay, disloyalty. Why do you think Sean's betrayed you? His testimony doesn't have any truth and slanders my good name. Do you have any method to expose his lies? Are not my words enough? As if I'd accept that. Okay, the first time. Sean didn't come with your first ring? Oui, why else would I need to ring it again if he came? Maybe you're influenced by my speculation. No. Okay, like the second time. Is your latest testimony true? Absolutely. Without any exaggeration because of personal emotion? I swear it upon my title. Okay, we'll leave it there. Please add what you mentioned to the testimony. Here we go. Indeed, I rang the bell twice. I did not say so earlier because I did not want my servant to become a suspect. Now I know I was wrong, but I didn't think too much about it at the time. I consider it recompense for 10 years of loyal service. His testimony is an absolute lie. I swear it upon my title. When I first rang the bell he didn't come, so I rang it again. He came in after I rang the bell a second time after a while. Aha, I've got no idea. Both their testimonies are pretty weak. Even if I asked Sola to testify, as Lunic's wife, her testimony would be suspect at best. If testimony is all we can rely on, then we will never find the solution. Perhaps we should see if there's anything else at the scene that can contradict them. Well, we haven't discussed the problem of the lock yet either. Now that the suspects are narrowed down again, I think I found a common point. Do you remember the moment the Marquis first arrived at the tavern? Oh, I nearly forgot. The melted snow had damaged the heel of my shoe. I guess we thought of something. Oh, what did you think of? Which evidence is related to the memory? Let's ask about the nightstand again. I didn't get permission to search the night table. Looking back, maybe the real murder weapon was inside. I thought the weapon was confirmed. The heel of the Marquis's shoe. One of us thought incorrectly, and I'm very sure that person is you. Okay, so that was wrong. It's not the shoe. It's something about the shoe, though. How about the door lock? The lock? I guess we thought of something. Which part of the lock? Which part of the lock is suspicious? The keyhole was sticky? Kane's door was shut. Kane's key was inside his room. The keyhole was sticky. Maybe that. Like the medicine? The stickiness of the lock. Why? If my memory's right, the Marquis had ordered Sean to reglue the heels of her shoes. The capital's high-end shoemakers usually make shoes with a specific type of glue. Although the glue is easy to dissolve with cold water, those shoemakers still use it over anything else. Partly because no noble lady would be walking in water, but mostly because the glue had no odour to it. And I'd wager that Sean carries a jar of the stuff in case of an emergency. Oui, he does. The glue would explain why the door was stuck for no reason. Only a detective with your level of talent could find the connection between such things. That does include your nose, by the way. Okay, so which evidence can connect the glue and the lock and the key? I just heard the sniffing sound effect in the background, so let's go with the scent. Well, the smell alone can't be used as evidence, but it does give me an idea. The smell of the locked door and the key at the scene weren't the same, and now that I think about it, it means the key was plugged in afterwards? Or the key was replaced? No, it was plugged in after. So the key was inserted later. Pourquoi? The Bard and Sean have seen the key was stuck in the lock when he came in. They're not the same one. Impossible. Hold it, here we go. What went wrong? Have you forgotten the key cannot plug into other rooms' locks? Every key is handmade by a good blacksmith. They look similar, but cannot be inserted into wrong locks. I know that, but you don't have to insert it. The only thing that matters is that it looks like it was put in. Looks like. I did see a key stuck in the lock, but if you break the key in half, then stick the shaft in the lock with glue, then it wouldn't matter if it fits or not. That's a wild guess, but yeah. The glue could be torn off. Machete. Yes, it would be quite difficult. If that's so, then I can tell who the murderer is with the case. With just one thing, you can prove yourself innocent. Show the shoe glue, show the key, demonstrate setting up the key. Let's look at the key, because they're saying, what, it got snapped off and then glued back together or something. It's simple, take out the room keys and open the door. Let's begin with the most suspicious three. I believe you're all anxious to prove your innocence, right? It's my pleasure. We should have done this much sooner. Indeed. Well. Take your keys and open the door, one by one. Ladies first, mademoiselle. My pleasure, Marquis Harlock. Elegant took out her key and approached her door without hesitation. The key slid into the lock, turned, and the door opened. She's always so calm and certain. I dare say if she was the murderer, she'd be a terrifying culprit to face. Next, Marquis Harlock. If this can prove my innocence. Ludic took out his key and approached the door, though his hands trembled slightly. The key missed the hole once or twice, but I could see sweat beginning to form on his fur. After several unsuccessful attempts, his wife stepped over to him, whispered something, and guided his hands. This time the key slipped easily into the keyhole and turned with a click, and Lunic's shoulders slumped in relief. Now the result's clear. Sean, we've opened all our doors, and now there's only Sean left. It must be him. If all three keys work on their respective doors, it shows that Roman's hypothesis cannot stand. In other words, we'll have to start over from the beginning. It's not foolish to jump so quickly to a conclusion. Oh, it's as you say. Sean, let's begin. Sean reached into his bag and froze. What's wrong? My key's missing. Maybe you should empty it to make sure. I don't think that's gonna... Empty the bag. No. Lunic snatched the bag from Sean and dumped the contents onto the ground. A dozen copper coins, a silver coin, half a key covered in glue, and a piece of blue crystal fell onto the carpet. Sean staggered back against the wall, clutching his vest tightly with both hands, and looked around with wide eyes. I've already guessed earlier. It's so early. But what about the loud noises? Those had to be Kane's falling body. If I was the murderer, I wouldn't have had the time to kill him and prepare the medicine. The bell rang just after the noise of his collapse. I couldn't have had time to. No. This is wrong. Lunic just testified that he didn't come on time when the bell rang. I was just a few seconds late. A few seconds couldn't buy me enough time to complete the tricks you made up, right? Tricks? Indeed, you were clever. What? For example, the loud noise? Was not the sound of Kane's fall. It was not from Kane's falling body. What else could it have been? Such a loud noise must be the noise of a body falling down, right? I have two pieces of evidence to prove that the voice was not caused by Kane's fall. Firstly, which evidence proved that the loud sound wasn't caused by Kane's body? I think it's Sean's headbutting. So what are our options? Kane's corpse in his room? The corpse was on the chair. His hand was grabbing the dagger. Fatal injury is in the chest. Kane's pendant wasn't lost. Okay. Kane's corpse in his room. We'll go with that one. Kane died in his own room. So, it wouldn't be that loud. The tavern is hardly built to insulate rooms from noise. Okay, so it's not that. The corpse was on the chair, so if he hasn't fallen down, why would there be a crashing noise? We'll go with that. He fell into the chair. Even if he collapsed back with no support at all, most of the impact would be cushioned by the chair. If he fell back like that, there wouldn't have been nearly enough noise. So the sound of heavy objects falling to the ground was caused by something else. The second piece of evidence I want to present is... Okay, I think... Yeah, where's Sean's testimony? He smashed the door. Yeah, because he butted it. Could it be this one? No. I really thought he might have headbutted a door just to make sound, but no, no good. We've got the luggage, and it says it's bumped, and it's kind of busted in a bit, so maybe he just dropped one of the luggages. Let's try that. The suitcase in Sean's room. The luggage is heavy enough that it'd weigh as much as... I mean, they're both extremely heavy. Throwing them around would be more than loud enough. So you killed Kane, and then went to your own room through the suitcase and rushed into the Marquis's room. If you made the noise in your room, you could easily reach the Marquis in time without arousing suspicion. Don't be ridiculous. Why would I kill someone I don't even know? We'll get to that. Let's have a quick Q&A. Click the moving icons to answer. So, let's go with the weapon. The lethal weapon is... it's the dagger. The dagger, of course, the murderer didn't cover this up. Okay, so that's fine. The suspect... can we not click that? Or shall we leave that for now? Okay, we'll go with the method. The modus operandi. Here's how things played out. Deductive reasoning. Arrange the occurrences chronologically from top to bottom by dragging chips to each position. Okay, we got to narrow 7 down to 5 and get them in the right order. So, I don't think it's 7. The suspect knocked the cup and candle to the floor. I don't think it's that. I also don't think that he stole Starzan's key, because they had their own keys. They were able to just shuffle them around. So let's try this. The suspect burst Kane's door open. The suspect glued half of the key to the door. The suspect replaced the key with Kane's. Like this. The suspect locked the door from the outside, and the suspect made a loud noise from his room. I mean, they're completely in numerical order, but we'll see. None of them are correct. Okay, we gotta keep trying. So let's try this. The suspect glued half the key into the door, then he knocked over all the stuff in the room. Then he replaced the key, and then he made a loud noise to get everyone's attention, and then he was the one to ram the door shut. Or open. He rammed it open. One answer. I'm not getting these right. Ah! Okay, so let's try this. So the suspect glued half of the key into the door. That is fine. The suspect then locked it from the outside. They have the key. The suspect made a loud noise to get everyone's attention. The suspect burst his door down, so no one was able to check the key. And then afterwards, he switched it. There we go. This is the sequence of events. Got it. So, the suspect is Sean. I think it's obvious the murderer is this guy. So I guess we're gonna go with Sean. But that just means that he did all the groundwork in terms of changing all the keys. It doesn't mean that he actually did the stabbing, but I guess we'll go with it. Sean, it's you. He had both the time and the motive. Nonsense! Be patient, I'll explain the motive. Okay, let's try this. I'm not actually sure what the motive's going to be. Though Sean denied that he'd met Kane before, one thing caught my attention. There's a blue crystal in Sean's bag, which looks just like Kane's pendant. Kane had worn that pendant for as long as I've known him. Maybe you two are old friends. No need to answer that. I think I know why you killed him. Why do you say that? Two old friends, reunited after many years of separation, but instead of a happy reunion, all you got was rage. Let me guess, it's all about betrayal. What are you talking about? For example, you promised that you would recommend Kane to the Marquis when you got the chance. Then he would finally achieve his dream of becoming a cook for nobility. Aye, but it seems like you didn't keep your promise, because you didn't think you'd ever see him again. Actually, if it wasn't for the snowstorm, you two probably would have never crossed paths. Oh, you committed the crime when Kane lost his temper. We are done. Let's begin. Case playback. Kane went upstairs after dinner, and you followed him soon after. One of Kane's actions confused me at the time. Okay, he was swinging the pendant so it could be seen, wasn't it? Yeah, he was spinning his necklace. He had pulled off his pendant, and he was letting it hang from his hand. My guess is, I think Kane was sending a signal to someone. I recognise you. You noticed Kane's signal and followed him upstairs. You were talking in his room, and then the ring from the bell from Lunic's room happened. That was the first bell ring. Kane mentioned your betrayal and knocked over the mug and candlestick. That's the crashing sound we heard. You felt endangered when Kane faced you, so you decided to strike first with your dagger. He collapsed onto the chair without any noise. You took Kane's key, then broke your own key, and stuck it in the lock with some glue that you used to fix Solar's shoes. You didn't pull out the dagger because you feared the blood would get on your clothes. After all, you only needed to deny that the dagger was yours. Then you went out, locked the door from the outside, returned to your room, and made the noise by tossing the suitcase. The Marquis noticed you hadn't arrived and rang the bell a second time. You entered to serve just in time. After that, you pretended to be surprised and ran out. You smashed the door open and exchanged the key you had stuck in the door with Kane's key. And that's how it happened. Just admit it, Sean. You cannot escape my logic. Fine. I did it. Sean's transverse pupils looked straight at me, and I couldn't see any emotion in his eyes. Whether it was sadness, fear, or despair, I couldn't tell. I didn't expect that either. I was just scared. His appearance, panting, looming over me with those red eyes, he looked like he was going to... Sean's hands were shaking, grasping his sleeves tightly. But you're the one who struck the first and deadliest blow. According to the Helios Code, whoever murders another person shall be hanged without special justification. I'm sorry, but your excuse is too weak to counter your punishment. I really don't want to be hanged. Isn't there any other option for me? I can't say no, even if you wanted to exercise the rights under the Helios Code. In fact, we're going to apply a Helios Code. Even if in the event that a case cannot be immediately brought to trial, as long as there is a qualified detective present, a judgment may be pronounced under a detective's discretion. Even if you will not escape judgment, except what... Sarzan, let me finish. As I was trying to say, according to the code, you have 10 minutes to make your peace. If you don't want to be hanged, do something. Like, you mean a confession? It depends on your definition of a confession. Okay. Sean set his handkerchief on the chair back, bowed his head, and meekly followed Sarzan up the stairs. Suddenly, several loud noises came from upstairs. What happened? I'm kinda scared. Let me go have a look. Open the door, now. Sarzan used his shoulder to batter open the door to Kane's room. What happened? Sean ran inside and jammed the door with something. The door swung open, knocking the nightstand aside. Sean leaned back against the chair where Kane was sitting, holding the dagger, sweating profusely. He clenched his teeth, closed his eyes, and thrust the dagger deep into his stomach. Thick blood gushed out around the blade and onto the handle, covering the fine carvings in layers of crimson. Sean had used the same dagger to break the commandment of thou shalt not kill, but he had also atoned for his crime with it. We just stood there and watched life slowly ebb from Sean's body. Now we're in big trouble. When the snow stops, I'm gonna go to the judiciary and testify. But first we need to take care of Sean and Kane. Roman, take this up onto my bedside. Sarzan threw me the key to Kane's room, picked up the broken key and stuffed it into his pocket. Thrivey, get Herring up here and ask him if he could perform a funeral, please. But if he refuses to perform funeral rites for a suicide, tell him Sean was hung by me with Roman's permission. Okay. Herring came upstairs with his rosary and his cross. I pulled down the ladder to the attic. The attic was dark. I started regretting leaving the candle downstairs. When my eyes adjusted to the darkness, I carefully walked around the trapdoor on the floor and hung the key on the key holder. I went back down to the corridor and met Sarzan dragging the body. Roman, help me drag them down into the yard. As long as they're kept outdoors, they won't rot from freezing cold. Herring's already recited scriptures for them, and when the snow stops, I'll ask the church to give them a decent funeral. Okay. Dragging two stiff bodies, we went downstairs along with the spiral staircase. Should we leave the dagger here, or put it out? You don't just leave it stuck in there, do you? They're dead, you know. Let's keep it. Well, better put it out. Would it mess up the scene? The case has been closed. The coroner from the judiciary would just have a simple glance. Also, it's not safe to leave it where anybody could. Don't say that. Sorry, it's just that Kane happened to meet his enemy. We're not all enemies in the hotel, right? Who knows? Sarzan opened the door and dragged Kane and Sean from the tavern. Maybe I'll get some sleep now. I went upstairs. All the doors are locked, except for Kane's and Sean's. Everyone went to bed, whether they can fall asleep or not. I need to go to bed too, though I probably can't find any sleep. I locked the door, hid the key under the pillow, and then blew the candle out. Okay, haven't seen you in a while. Oh, yeah. Turns out you didn't forget me, Sean. Sure. So you merely forgot that promise you made, right? Sorry, I haven't had a chance to recommend you. No chance at all? Being the Marcus's valet doesn't bring you even a single chance or even mention my name? I'm sorry. Even if you didn't fulfill your promise, I still hoped that we could keep in touch. Don't smash things. Just a moment. Don't be angry. Even if you failed to keep your word, I always thought of you as a friend. Don't come near me. This is what I wanted to tell you after I calmed down, but you never gave me the chance. Oh man, that was rough. But okay, that is the end of that case. So we will find out more in the next episode. This is Usho signing off, and hopefully I will see you next time.